I met you through David Barthold.
Barthold.
Barthold? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Um, he was the one who got you kind of into this too, besides Vern.
Uh, well, that's sort of personal.
Oh.
It's personal in a way that we became lovers for an extended time. And so he encouraged me to get more into leather because he was into leather. Even though David was never a member of the club, we were together a lot at events. And so not to have any disagreement or anything, I started purchasing more leather at the time. So, but I still stayed to be in leather Levi in that area. So.
I kind of don't know where we go from here.
Well, what were we talking about when I was offloading the camera?
We were talking about David. And
Okay.
We didn't talk about Charles Lamar. You mentioned Charles Lamar.
Oh, Charles Lamar. Now, Charles Lamar was a good friend of mine also. I don't know if a lot of you new members, I know the older members certainly remember Charles Lamar. Charles Lamar was a promoter of leather. Charles Lamar, I think every other month or every other 3 months had to have something new in leather, where it was custom made, or he'd go to the manufacturer and they made it for him. Boots, to die for coats. You know, some best looking coats and interesting leather slacks. And I think he had one time, I think he could have got on a horse and rode off because he had this stirrups and he had the pockets on the side that went out and flared out, you know, and patches, you know, and chains going up the sides of his pants. You know, and he was a good-looking man, and so it was interesting always seeing what leather Charles would be wearing at what event, and it was always something new and different. He had the money; he could do it, so it was good. And then he also had the way of means getting to different places because he worked for the airlines, and so he could take off, you know, and go to a run or be part of it, or he could go shopping, you know, if he wanted to go in China or Japan or wherever and find the latest. I remember him coming home one time with this German outfit, you know, that he bought right over in Germany, you know, from the leather guys over there that they made for him. So it was interesting.
Did we talk about who was in the club when he was a member?
Tell me about who was in the club when you were a member.
When I was a member of the club, it was Vern Melke, Bill Diefenbach, who was his partner, Jim Booth, Jack Hunt, Jim Courtney, Lyle Watson, Tom Meyer. That's who I was trying to think of. Also, was one of the first black guys in Minnesota who was into a club. Real feisty, very good-looking man. Of course, he succumbed by AIDS also, along with his partner Lyle Watson. And then it moved on to Steve Johnson, Clark, Buff, and Joe. And then the younger guys started coming along, like Sam. And Sam started moving forward, and that's when I sort of moved out. I mean, I'd done everything in the club, you know, being officer, helping with the fundraisers and moving forward. And I guess my interests were sort of moving away from really being strong, going into the club and participating where I felt younger members should take the helm and move forward. And Sam was there, and so it was a new movement forward in a new era.
that he said. We're going to talk about the difficulty of runs, and how there's they're always a little dramatic, and there's, you know, a lot of emotion around runs and working the runs, and afterwards people, you know, sometimes get upset. I mean, can you talk about the work that went into putting together the runs, and the impact that had on the club?
The impact on putting on a run,
Yeah.
it was hell. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think it probably has changed today much. I mean, you have to raise money somehow to pay for it because the club doesn't have a lot of money. They don't have a buffer, you know, and if you think you ever will, well, good luck. I do remember one of the guys who lived down in Dodge Center, Greg Gust, who gave a lot of money to the club that helped us when he was also an active member too, I forgot to mention him, who gave a lot of money to the club in his memory afterwards. And so we sort of ran on this little fluffy, you could say, pillow for a while. But then, you know, everything costs more. And he paid for and gave money for members to get their uniforms. I think we changed uniforms that one year. He paid for some people their runs so they could go, so it wasn't all about money. They could enjoy going. And so, you know, there is these secret people who come forward who never get recognized for probably more things that they do in the background than up front, and don't care to take the credit for it. They just want to be part of it and do it. I remember going on runs and you had to go out and put on, say, a cocktail party, or you had to get up early in the morning and do eye openers or whatever it's called now, and advertising, just advertising, you know, it's a lot of money. And you had to work hard just to come even, and most of the time you didn't. And I don't know if that's what it is today, but...
What do you see as the value of doing the runs?
The value of doing a run?
Yeah.
Coming together, working as a team, you know, working as positive as you possibly can, and having everybody participating. If you don't participate, but you take the credit, what have you gained? It's just that underground, just brotherhood. You can yell and scream at each other, but at the end, you know, you put this on and you were part of it. I remember one year we even did the cooking in the kitchen, and that was hell, you know, because I'm not a cook, but, you know, you had to do what you had to do to put on a successful run. Yeah.
One other one. It wasn't on the list. If this is an ambush question, you are free to say I'd rather not talk about it, but talk about the sex.
I'm not going to talk about sex. No.
Okay.
Yeah.